Welcome to today's episode. It is March 27th, and you're listening to the podcast where we discuss the most recent installment of a different series every show. Speaking of new series and new shows, big news for Harry Potter fans this week. They released the teaser trailer to the HBO highly anticipated series,
On
which
Wednesday.
will be coming out on Christmas, like a Doctor Who episode, which makes sense because British, you know?
Yeah.
It's also got the British original title, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone.
What do you think about that?
I think that's the first decision that they're trying to differentiate the two,
Right.
which now they immediately do. And I think it's great. I own the Philosopher's Stone, that book, rather than for the first three. For some reason, I got the English versions, and it's basically the same story, but like some of the words have been flipped out. And so I was much more intelligent as a child because of that. Because I knew British English and I had a British accent as well.
I agree with you. I think that it was smart that they went back to Philosopher's Stone. I have trouble saying it.
Even that's what happens when you're an American reading sorcerers.
But I remember that it ended up being a myth. But I heard when I was really young that like J.K. Rowling was at a coffee shop and then she was writing it on a napkin. Like she started writing the story on a napkin and then she came out years later being like, no, that story's completely false. I could afford pen and paper.
She did write some of, I think, her books in a coffee shop. Like, I think she did use it. And then I think it was like the fourth one or fifth one where like one of them, she admitted to kind of getting a little too absorbed in the Harry Potter like lore and people going crazy about it. And so she had to like simplify things and went back to the same shop that she had been writing them before. That was a story from back in the day. It could be a wide tale.
My thing about Harry Potter, though, is that I was just recently in New York. I saw the Broadway show Just in Time, and right down the street, there was a huge poster. It was so big for Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. And
Daniel Radcliffe was there or not?
No, he was not there.
He is on Broadway, right?
Yeah, he is on Broadway, but also another person who was on Broadway is actually Tom Felton. He's in the show reprising his role as Draco Malfoy.
Like old Draco?
Yeah, and I think he's been doing it for a couple months. I think that he's like ending in like the first part of May.
I never knew the story to Cursed Child. I wonder if I have to watch it in order to watch the series. I mean, facetious. Obviously, you don't. The other thing is funny because like everybody's like, don't do what Stranger Things did. So they're filming these back to back to back. I'm pretty sure the kids will be the same age as the characters in the show. There's no chance that I think if they did it truly back to back to back, they could finish this thing before the kids were 15, which would be crazy. I don't know. They could even add more source material.
I don't know if they're going to go that fast.
Yes.
But yeah, I don't want them to be as old as they are at the very end of Harry Potter by the time they finish this thing.
I haven't seen the teaser. However, I've seen some circulating images online, and there's like, for instance, Draco now has like a broccoli haircut. So people are finding that pretty funny. What else have you seen?
I've only seen Harry Potter. I think that I saw like a quick image and it looked like he was at Hogwarts. So the kid looks like him.
Okay.
Looks like how I envisioned him.
It's pretty easy to make someone look like Harry Potter. People have been cosplaying Harry Potter forever. But one thing that I saw was a comparison shot between the Daniel Radcliffe version where he's going to platform 9 3/4.
Right.
And he's like about to run into the wall. And all I could see when I was looking at that image was all these busy airports in the US, someone has got to have gotten so like upset and just like wonky from standing in line that I wonder if anybody's like tried to just ram themselves into a wall and be like, this will go through. Like, I'm going to go the fast way.
I definitely doubt that. But I know Riz Ahmed, when he was doing the audiobooks for this, he voiced Severus Snape in them.
And those audiobooks that you're talking about, those are no joke. Like, that has been promoted to me, I think, to everybody who has an Audible account for the last, like, 2 months. They've released, I think, in order, all the books. They have a cast of, like, Hugh Laurie, Keira Knightley, just an insane amount of Hollywood actors mixed with the, like, they used to do this with Neil Gaiman books. But now they're doing it with Harry Potter. And
well, Riz Ahmed, he even did Sandman.
Yes, of course. So, like, he's part of it. But it's cool. It also shows that he's talented enough. Because I don't even think I could stand there and read. I read a good amount, but I don't think I could read every single word and then not screw up.
Yeah,
you know?
right.
Like, it would take me sentence by sentence. And there would be so many choppy moments. My point is though, Snape, right?
Yeah.
So he played Snape in the audiobook, but Snape in the live action version that's coming out has gotten so much blowback, probably the most because they cast Papa Seju, who we've talked about on the podcast. And similar to the casting of Rue in Hunger Games or Ariel in the most recent Little Mermaid or Annabeth in the most recent Percy Jackson, it's just a lot of people getting mad that they switched the races.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because like that's the stupidest thing. This guy is a very talented actor, but it's very present to what we're talking about today in Bait, the series where Riz Ahmed is playing Shah Latif, a struggling actor who suffers an existential crisis after being tapped for an audition for the role of 007, James Bond, and the blowback that he receives from all the salty James Bond fans out there who want to see a white actor.
And there's been so much controversy that just comes along with 007 in the last decade. So yeah.
Out of any time that an actor has ever been cast for something, have you ever like agreed with the blowback?
So when I first heard that Ben Affleck was playing Batman.
Okay, so that was going to be the one I used too. 70,000 people wrote in with their signatures trying to petition to remove him from Batman vs Superman.
I think he had burned a lot of people after Daredevil in terms of but like if you actually saw the film, a lot of people thought that he was the best part of it in Batman v Superman.
I skipped through the film, and I still think that Ben Affleck never should have been Batman. But I will say that there was a 2020 petition that I saw circulating that said, "Please bring Ben Affleck back as Batman." So it's not all bad for the Affleck Bats fans. So this was a series that was created by Ahmed. It was written by him. Its world premiere was at Sundance, and now it's on Amazon Prime.
It's always good when you can tell that the actor, because like if you're just watching it, I could already tell this was something that Riz Ahmed had more of a hand in.
It's like a pet project that he's wanted. Every actor who's like shown the acting shop, like won a huge award or something, should get a chance if they want to at making one. They should get one. And if they do bad, then they never should be able to get another TV show in their life where they've been the one who creates it. Because I've seen so many people who get like mediocre shows made just because they've like, you know, been famous from something else.
So this is his TV debut, because that's what I was trying to figure out or not. Like,
of course not.
No. Sorry, no, I meant TV debut in terms of like creating a show.
I absolutely don't know that 100% for sure. But where do you know Riz Ahmed from?
I only ever saw the pilot, but he was great in it in The Night of. Okay. I also saw that he was in Rogue One, but I don't really remember him from that. But I know that he's very talented, because when I saw him in The Night of, I was like, that is amazing. And then he was lauded for his role in Sound of Metal.
Okay, so let's go in order here. We'll discuss this James Bond first, because I know you're a big fan.
Yep.
Then we'll go into Riz Ahmed, a little bit more of his career. Then we'll do Bait comparisons, followed by the plot of Blatant, Not Subtle, which is the pilot episode. Mm-hmm. Then we'll say what's working with it, what's not, the early reception, and then finally our rating.
Okay.
But starting with the James Bond stuff.
Yeah.
You were a big fan.
I feel like I'm qualified to talk about it because Skyfall is my favorite movie of all time.
Now, you do know where James Bond came from, yes?
Like where do you mean? Like
he was written into, like, it was a book.
Right. Ian Fleming.
Yes, 1953, and then the movies came along not long after that, but there were 12 original novels and 2 story collections. And who would you say is your favorite Bond?
Probably Daniel Craig, but I know a lot of people like Sean Connery as well, because he's like kind of the OG.
Okay, and let me jump to this. Who should be the next 007?
Oh, well, I see. I don't have like a good answer for this, but I know there's been so many people that have talked about it, from Taron Egerton before he ruled himself out. Then there was a big push for Henry Cavill, who was even up for it.
Okay, I have a question here for you. You'll probably know it then. Who hasn't been floated as a new one? Ryan Gosling, Aaron Taylor-Johnson, Theo James, or Henry Cavill? Which name has not been?
Ryan Gosling.
Yeah. 100%.
I know Tom Hiddleston and Idris Elba, even at different points, were up for it as well.
In fact, Dev Patel, who was mentioned in Bait, right?
Yeah.
Because Riz Ahmed was getting tired of being confused as him.
Well, he got recognized. Yeah.
He was once looked at as maybe a James Bond. He was asked if he wanted to be in that role, like, eventually, and he said no, they should do Idris Elba. This was a few years ago, and I think Idris Elba has also come out saying he doesn't want to do it. But
right, and I know that also Dev Patel, that must have been before Monkey Man.
No, I think it was during that press conference thing, because it was like showing off the fact that he could
actually do fight scenes.
He's also very tall, so like they mentioned in this series, many of the Bonds have been tall. looking back, because you just guessed correctly at who wasn't a pin for it for the next like go round.
Yeah.
But in the past, who wasn't considered at one time? Because this is going to be harder for you. Adam West, Michael Caine, Matthew Rhys, or Mr. Rogers.
Or Mr. Rogers?
Yes.
That's too crazy. Mr.
Too crazy.
Rogers. Mr. Rogers is way too crazy.
Okay. I thought I might get you because of how crazy it was. But yes, no, Mr. Rogers was never actually considered to be. But all the rest of them were. The other Batman,
Yeah.
and the other Alfred, and then Matthew Rhys is from the
Matthew Rhys,
Americans.
I think I've heard about that one before. Yeah.
That would have been, I assume, before the Daniel Craig one, though.
Yeah. No, because again, Henry Cavill was up against Daniel Craig, and then even after Daniel Craig was ending, he was like, "Hey, I would still love to play it," but they said that he was too old to play it at that point.
You said your favorite film has been Skyfall.
Yeah.
And that's the one with the train, right?
Yep.
Okay, where he's like running, and then Adele music as well, right?
Right,
I think
yeah.
Adele really fit the.
Amazing intro.
She
to
should
that.
do them all. Okay, but and then Billie Eilish did this series. Am I wrong on
I
that?
think I think she did like the last one or the second to last one.
Can you name? I know you can name Sean Connery, Daniel Craig. Can you name all the Bonds? There's been like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Now you're testing my memory. There's Pierce Brosnan.
Yes. You're dating yourself as far as like just not knowing any of the ones from prior to the 90s. There was Timothy Dalton.
Oh, that one, of course.
Roger
Yeah.
Moore, and George Lazenby. And I think Lazenby may have been in more films than Connery was. But if you okay, so let's look at Riz Ahmed, because he's the one who's being cast, or his alter ego. What is his name again?
It's Shah Latif.
Yes, so he is being considered for Bond. Let's look at, he is in real life. How old do you think Riz Ahmed is?
I would guess like 37.
He's 43 years old.
Wow.
Okay? How old do you think Aaron Taylor Johnson is?
I would guess like, oh, well, actually, I think I know this. Is he 36?
35.
Oh, okay.
And then what was it? Theo James.
Theo, that's a harder one. I'm just going to guess 36 again.
41, and then Henry Cavill is 42.
Everyone looks just younger than they
Riz
are.
Ahmed is actually kind of within that age group. So he passes that test. However, when you look at the original age that most of the other Bonds were cast at, Sean Connery was 31, George Lazenby was 29, Roger Moore was 44. I think he was the oldest one to be cast at that age.
Mhm.
Timothy Dalton, 40, Pierce Brosnan, 41, and Daniel Craig was 37. Daniel Craig, 53 in the last Bond. So
Yeah, in No Time to Die.
he definitely spent some time there. Now, if we look at the heights, though, this is where Riz Ahmed starts to separate himself, because up until now, all of them have been, except for Craig, have been above 6 feet.
Yeah.
Craig is 5'10". Riz Ahmed is 5'8".
Only an inch above Tom Cruise.
But Riz and Pierce Brosnan are both left-handed, so he wouldn't be the only left-handed Bond. He would be only the third actual English Bond.
Oh, interesting.
Daniel
Okay.
Craig is officially English. So is
Sean Connery, right?
No,
Or
Sean
is he
Connery
not?
is Scottish.
Wow.
Yeah, and Pierce Brosnan famously Irish, Timothy Dalton Welsh, and George Lazenby was Australian. They got an Australian.
Oh, they got an
Bond in there.
Australian. Okay.
Yes. So, what is it about Bond that people like so much? Because clearly there wouldn't be this whole show about how nobody wants someone wrong cast for it. There wouldn't be all this clout behind who does get cast for it, unless this character is just someone that people have like fallen in love, even more than like Sherlock.
I think in real life, the films are as good as the villains that they cast are. Hence the reason why, like,
you think it's just the prestige of like the directorship and all that stuff,
right? Like when you look at Mads Mikkelsen in Casino Royale, that's considered one of the best Bond films of all time. And I think that like Daniel Craig does a great job, but really it's because the villain itself is so good, kind of like a Marvel movie almost. You know,
I thought that maybe Reeves had like some sort of he knew how Bond films were made because he had been in one. I then realized that I was confusing him with Rami Malek, who is the U.S. version of Riz Ahmed. As in, like, I can see Riz Ahmed playing Mr. Robot, but like the British version.
I don't know. I feel like Rami Malek fits a certain type of weird where you can't like replicate him. In fact, I remember that even
that's what acting is.
Sam Mendes said that he was, or no, sorry, not Sam Mendes.
The singer.
I meant the director of.
No, you're probably right. I get those two confused.
Yeah, but the director I remember was going to change the Mr. Robot role before they met Rami Malek. But yeah, you're talking about in No Time to Die,
right? Wasn't it Sam Elliott or something like
no,
that?
Elliot was the main character's name.
Why am I thinking thinking that. Okay, yes.
Yeah, but in No Time to Die, yeah, Rami Malek plays a character that like is wearing a mask, and then we learn kind of more about his
Fan of
backstory
the opera
as
style.
it's going on. Yeah, he
Right.
looks like it. Yeah.
Okay, so Riz Ahmed, like we've said, he's been in a lot of stuff. He's not new to this. And so in this series, Bait. Why is it called Bait?
Yeah, I think that it's because of the final 5 minutes as to what happens. It's almost
I
like
thought it was like
clickbait,
because like
almost.
he's auditioning for Bond and he's trying to get it and he's not sure if he will. It's like dangling the carrot above his head the whole time. I don't know
Right.
if that's true. The other thing is the first episode's called Blatant, Not Subtle. It's like 25 minutes long. Let's go through the beats of it. But first tell me, is this more comedy or tragedy?
I think that like 80% of it, like the first 20 minutes are comedy. And then I think the final 5 minutes hit a depth that I was not expecting it to. It gets very depressing.
So like a BoJack episode.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that that's a good comparison. But struggling actor Shah Latif, life is in shambles. He is forgetting speeches and auditions, drowning in debt, and only recognized when people mistake him for Dev
Do you
Patel.
remember Wonder Man
Yeah.
from just a little while ago?
Yeah, the MCU show. Yeah.
Yeah, he had a similar but opposite problem. He wouldn't forget his lines. Remember, he was actually very good with his
Right.
lines, but he would still get fired while being on set because he would weigh in too much. He'd be too much of a thinker and he would try to, like, shoehorn his own
And
ideas
that
into
was
the
always
script.
very cringy,
He
I
almost
remember to
had
see.
too much confidence
Yeah.
until he gets his dream role. And
This
then
one this one is more Shaw brings it upon himself when he just can't remember the
that's what I'm
speech of being
saying.
James
This guy
Bond.
is also an overthinker, but he gets way too nervous, it seems like.
Yeah.
Like he has the Eminem moment where he goes in at the end and he's looking to go out and because he used to be what, a DJ? And
Yeah.
he's about to go out there and impress a crowd, but he's got this insecurity about him where he's getting just overly and part of it's just the fact that he has the weight of the James Bond role.
I think it's more that he saw how much hate and backlash that he was getting online, and that freaked him out
He
more.
doesn't have a rough skin about it though. Not yet. He
No.
hasn't built that up. And so you start where does the episode begin?
It starts off like it's a movie because it starts off with him auditioning as James Bond. He's saying all the lines and then he can't remember a certain speech, and that's when they yell cut. Apparently they've shot this thing like 7 times, and the director, who was giving him kind of a break because she really wanted to see how he would do as James Bond, can't handle it anymore, and she makes him leave the set.
And
He's
yet he's
done.
still considered a possibility
No,
for
no,
the
no, no.
role?
He at this point, his chance of being James Bond are shot. He's even saying that in the trailer. He's like, I lost my one chance at like actually becoming someone. But as he's leaving set, someone tells him to go out the back way because there's a lot of paparazzi that take photos whenever they're doing these James Bond auditions.
Of course.
And as he's leaving, there's a photograph that is taken of him, and that photograph soon
It goes
goes
viral.
viral.
Right.
Yeah, and so that's why so many people are like, is this person the new James Bond?
So is part of his insecurity the fact that he knows that he's not going to be, or is he just
No, he's so happy about it when it goes viral. In fact, his whole family is there. We get a quick shot of kind of his life midway through.
right?
You have Zolfi, that's the Uber driver, that's also his cousin, who wants to start a Muslim-owned Uber business. Apparently 26 people have signed up for the app. That was the most I felt like this fool that the show got. And then you had Q, who was his younger sister, Zolfi's younger sister, his cousin. Reminded me a lot of Gen Z Ruby from the Charlie Puth show because she's on her phone the whole time. In fact, she's the person that first sees the story about his photo being published. And then you
It
have...
also has to be nice, kind of like with the John Boyega thing when he was cast in Star Wars and he couldn't
Yeah.
tell his friends or family. He had like an NDA where he just like literally was not allowed to say how much of the movie he was going to be in.
Right.
And then it turns out that he was one of the stars. To have it like leaked ahead of you so that you don't have to even pretend, is like, and you don't get in trouble for saying it.
Yeah, nothing's been confirmed. It's
Yes.
just the fact that they saw this photo in the article. And then you have Parvez, that's Shah's dad. He doesn't get up from the couch for the entire episode until the very end. And then Tahira, who's Shah's mom, who's very loving despite the fact that Shah has been absent for 2 months. But yes, this photo goes viral, and it seems like everybody, his friends, his family, the community, they're all really excited until he goes to the and the casting, the person that he's talking to is like, they may even be talking about a second audition, like, you might get a second chance for this.
Just from the buzz.
Yes, and, because it seems like it's
Welcome to
positive
Hollywood,
reception.
except you're not in Hollywood, you're in the British version of Hollywood.
So, yeah, at the very end, Shaw, he goes to a nightclub where his friends are performing.
Where he used to work.
Yep.
This is the part where I was saying that he got really nervous and couldn't come out there.
Mitt and Taze are the people that he used to perform with, and he was talking about how he might go out beforehand and kind of warm up the audience, but then prompted by Taze, because Taze is like, just to let you know, there's a lot of like bad stuff coming at you online, so just like ignore it. He doesn't really know what he's talking about, goes to the bathroom, pulls out his phone, and a quick glance shows that there are a ton of people being racist, saying that, he doesn't look like James Bond, he shouldn't be James Bond, and they show you all the comments kind of appear on screen. People are like, they went with the worst option. Wait, no, they didn't. Wait, yes, they did.
There's something simple about the way that you're describing this with it being like a streamlined plot. Like this is just a normal actor who's getting famous and then has to deal with the repercussions of just bastards out there doing what they're going to say. But I think there's a deeper layer too, where this guy might actually just be a bad actor. And he doesn't want to come to grips to that. Like he literally was using his faith as a way to get out of the fact that he had screwed up his own audition.
Yes, that is true. But
like I think it's kind of complex in the way that you both have this story that should be very clear faced of this racism, but then you also have like, but I also maybe don't feel like I feel like I'm not supposed to be here because I truly am not good enough to be an actor.
I mean,
And that's why I
think
think he's playing like an extended version of himself.
I think that Shaw is
Not that he's a bad actor. Sorry.
Shaw is a likable character though. Like he's a protagonist. This isn't a case of like Succession or anything where it's like even though bad stuff is happening to these people, they're also assholes. Like Shaw is the character that you're going for, and I think that Riz Ahmed plays the character well. At least, yeah, in the first episode,
it just feels like one of those things where he is a victim, but he may also have his own ailments that are of his own making.
Well, we don't know because at the very end of the episode, Pig's head comes flying through his family's house. He drives over and it has the note on it that says, "R. Salami, fuck you 007," right as he gets a text from his manager saying that they want him for a second audition, and that's been confirmed. And that's where the episode ends.
Yes.
So, do you want me to go into my pros now?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. One, it's short. 25 minutes. Love it. Easy to digest. Easy to binge. Think that is 100% the best thing about the show. Really, really good. Also, so smart for Riz Ahmed to choose 007 as the character. Some of the controversy
very topical.
We've already talked about, but we know how much pressure comes with it when Daniel Craig was talking about him wanting to slit his wrists after the fourth film.
People were upset when he was cast because they said he was too short.
Yeah, and I think that he is the best.
5'10".
I think that he is the best one that we've had. So it shows you how much people know. But Lashana Lynch, also that controversy when it was announced in the final film that she was going to acquire the title of 007, there was a lot of controversy that surrounded that as well. So I think that it was really smart to choose that character because it was very realistic in that way. And then
I think he's trying to legitimately shoehorn his way into the role.
You think this is his way of trying to do that?
It's kind of the Zelensky effect, where you play a politician on TV and next thing you know, you're leading a war to fend off Russia. That's, I'm sure, the way that he wanted it to work out. No, so I agree with you on a certain respect. I want to hear what you think. You say that Shaw is a good guy.
Yeah, no, and that was actually my next part. I'm rooting for Shaw. Riz Ahmed, his charm, he carries it, and I think that is such like an important thing.
Does he carry it sort of like Dave though? Where because I would say he's also another flawed character.
Oh,
little
Dicky is so like
Let's
bad
talk
in
about the first couple episodes maybe of Dave, where before it gets super absurd. I don't know, but my point is like even when he went to the nightclub, he the friends called him out. Like, oh, you're coming here just to embellish your own fame, like add on to what you've already kind of gotten, which wasn't even because you did anything. besides
That was
fail an
supposed to be a
audition.
fake out because then because
I know it was, but it was also somewhat true. He was being a little selfish in that
yeah,
way.
and I know also that his manager said just stay at home, and he decided to change that. I guess after seeing something like Imperfect Woman, where there is not a single likable main character, it was nice to at least have someone to root for
Fair enough.
again.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know, and also I enjoyed seeing Ritu Ara from Umbrella Academy and Barbie. She says literally 2 lines. She's on there for 20 seconds, but it's always fun to see her.
I didn't look at too much of the cast of this. I was mostly thinking it was going to be about Riz
Do you
Ahmed.
know who I'm talking about though?
Yes. Yeah, yeah.
She plays Yasmin, and it's unclear if they are exes, if they are friends that grew apart. There's definitely some tension
Will
there.
they? Won't they?
Yeah, it's kind of unclear, but I like seeing her there. She's obviously going to be in
Is it
more of the
kind of like the
series.
Atlanta relationship there between
It it's more tension filled. I know what you're talking about. You're talking about Ern and Zazie
Thank
Beetz'
you. Yes.
character.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were definitely more in love. Here it was kind of unclear why they were mad at each other, but there was something underneath the
They were
surface.
exes, that was what I was
Yeah,
saying. Yeah.
that's and then also, yeah, the fact that it dealt with serious topics. And I think that an argument can be made that there's more that meets the eye to the picture that was actually published. Like there might be actually more to that story. It might have been like a planned thing. Right now they're just saying that it was paparazzi, all the characters.
That would be crazy. He planted it himself.
Well, that's
That's
you.
you know what it reminds of jury duty. James Marsden calling the paparazzi in on himself.
Well, the manager even asked that. She asked if this was his idea, and he says no in the first episode. But I don't know. It seems like there's mystery there because we don't see who took the photo. We
Right.
just see that the photo was
We
taken.
think he took it himself somehow. He took it with a drone. No, so some comparisons.
Comparisons, I would say the comeback only because it's a comedy that's somewhat dark about Hollywood.
Absolutely. Like dealing with the industry,
Yeah.
eccentric versions. It doesn't necessarily have to be you, but it can be like an alternative version of you. The comeback fits with that. Episodes fits with that, though he is playing Matt LeBlanc.
I had sprinkles of Entourage
Or
in
Curb Your
there.
Enthusiasm. Entourage as well. I think the fact that it doesn't take place in Hollywood is good because we get so many of them taking
Yeah.
place in California, and it's nice to see a little reprieve from that.
I even had the franchise on there, and it was a very similar tone to Deli Boys, that Hulu
Oh,
comedy
yeah,
about the
'cause of the
brothers.
family.
Yeah, very much so. Similar tone, and so, yeah, I thought that was
I
what it was most like.
I think the biggest comparison, no one's named yet, though, not even in the articles, and I think it's Masters of None, the first couple seasons,
Oh, the,
where
Aziz
Ansari
Ansari show?
is playing a role of Dev, a New York-based actor who is struggling to identify what he really wants both personally and professionally. And we know that Shaw really wants to be 007,
Yeah,
but, like,
like everyone.
I think he's also trying to figure out who he wants to be as a person.
Yes, right, it's a lot about self-discovery.
So I do see the connection between those 2 shows. What's your ultimate review, or do you have cons you want?
Yeah, I have a couple cons. One, the first scene, it's overly done in every show where it turns out they're in a movie, and it's been done forever. Scrubs just recently did it with a remake. The Boys, Get Shorty
That's
had
a
a
bad thing?
Yeah, it is. It's funny the first time, but like, after so many times, it gets kind of annoying. Get Shorty had a similar scene like in the pilot, Extras, BoJack Horseman, just to name a few. So I did have it as a con. Also, the tonal change, even
What
though
about not the Penguin? What was it? What was the show with what's his face in it? The guy who played the Riddler.
The studio.
Thank
That's
you.
what
Yeah,
you're
the
talking
studio, of
about.
course. Yeah.
Again, this is the first time where I'm putting it as a con because usually I put it as a pro, but this is I'm starting to get a little tired of it, I guess is my thing. Also, the tonal change was kind of out of nowhere. Like I liked how they went there, but it seemed very sudden and abrupt, and I think they maybe could have added 1 or
You
2
can't credit
scenes.
it for 25 minutes and then get mad that it didn't give you
No,
a
and
more fleshed out story.
I understand that kind of takes away from the pro a little bit, but I'm saying that like it was very just like we're riding high with the fact that he's James Bond, and then out of nowhere, just suddenly it drops to like an extreme level almost, and I felt like it could have been a little more fluent in that way if it wanted to go that way. And also the character introductions of both Zolfi, Amit, and Taze. I get that they're supposed to be main characters in the show or really friends of him, but I don't think that they're fully fleshed out yet. I think that they could probably do with like actually having more storyline in them because they just seem like comic relief at this point.
Okay.
Overall, this is a good pilot. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10.
It has a very good reception right now. 83 on Metacritic. The New York Times review said, bait review, Bond. I like that. And then, yeah, it says the casting was the biggest strength in Bait. Guardian called it petty and narcissistic and excellent. 4 stars from The Guardian. And then AV Club
There
said,
there are more cynical shows out there though, so I'm surprised that Bait is, like,
yes,
getting
but The
that.
Guardian, it's one of theirs. It's one of their own shows. Speaking of which, do you think Snape would make a good Bond?
If Alan Rickman had become Bond, that would have been an interesting thing, yeah.
All right. And the AV Club said that Riz Ahmed's Bait is rousing, a genre-bending comedy. Yes. So overall, very well received. I think that his character is just a classic overthinker and very mortal. And as a short 6-episode watch, it should be fun for people to tune in.
If you like Riz Ahmed, if you like shows that center around, even though you said it's not Hollywood, I think you're going to like it.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you on the next episode. Hope you enjoyed this one. Bye.
Bye.